Happy Sabbath, children. I'm so happy. It's a joy to see you here and actually see your beautiful faces here. Okay, today's story is Jesus is alive. And this is a very interesting story about Jesus' disciples and two Marys. Okay, after Jesus died, a man named Joseph put Jesus in his tomb that nobody had ever used. The tombs they used then were cut out of a rock, almost like a cave. They weren't very deep in the ground like they are now. Before Joseph left, he and some men rolled a large, heavy stone in front of the tomb. Mary and Mary Magdalene had waited a day to see Jesus because they couldn't go in on the Sabbath, which is the day of rest. They made spices and oils as sign of respect to Jesus and went very early on Sunday morning to go see Jesus' body. They were brave women, right? As they were just at the tomb, the earth suddenly shook, and an angel came down from heaven and easily rolled away the stone at the entrance of the tomb and sat on top of it. Imagine a big stone being rolled. That would be very heavy to move. The women looked at each other and rubbed their eyes since they couldn't believe what they had seen. Plus, it was very early in the morning, and they were still a little sleepy. The angel was so bright, almost as bright as a lightning. His clothes were white as snow. There had been guards watching the tomb, so no one could steal Jesus' body. When they saw the angels, they fell over and couldn't move or speak because they were so afraid. Then the angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid. I know you're looking for Jesus who has died, but he isn't here. He has risen just as he said he would. Come and see yourselves the empty tomb." The women were confused. They were sure Jesus had died, and now he was alive. They looked at the tomb, and the clothes Jesus had been wrapped in were lying on the ground. The tomb was empty. That's a very good news. Then the angels spoke again. "If you want to find Jesus, he's on his way to Galilee." So the women hurried and ran away. They were laughing and crying at the same time. They didn't know what to feel. They had been so sad that Jesus was dead, and now they were so excited that he was alive. They just knew they had to find Jesus, and they had to tell the disciples the good news. As they were running down the path, they turned the corner, and there was Jesus. "Greetings," he said. The ladies fell at his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go tell my disciples to come to Galilee. That is where they will see me." The disciples came to Galilee, having heard by this time that Jesus was alive. They were sitting around talking about it when Jesus walked into the room and said to them, "Peace be with you." The disciples immediately stopped talking. Even though they had heard he was alive, they were shocked to see him standing there with them. Jesus said to them, "Why do you look at me like you've seen a ghost? Why don't you believe what you're seeing? Look at the scars in my hand and my feet. It's really me. Touch me and see. I am not a ghost, but a real person." The disciples' mouths were open in amazement because they still didn't know what to think. They were so full of joy, and yet it was so impossible. Jesus understood that what they were thinking, so he said, "This is what I told you it would happen, that everything must happen that has already been written in the Bible." Jesus had told the disciples when they had the Last Supper together, they took the bread at the communion, and Jesus said, "This is my body which I have given to you." But the disciples didn't understood what it really meant. Then Jesus told them, "You have seen these things that have happened, so stay in the city, and soon I am going to give you what God has promised you, the Holy Spirit." The Holy Spirit makes us know when we have done something wrong. The Holy Spirit reminds us that when we're doing something wrong, so that we need to stop and say sorry and ask for forgiveness of what we have done. The story is almost done. But Jesus had one more person to see. His name was Thomas, and he was one of the disciples that wasn't there when Jesus met with them. Thomas had also heard that Jesus was alive, but would not believe until he saw Jesus with his own eyes. A week later, then Thomas finally saw Jesus. Jesus said to him, "Put your fingers here. See my hand? Stop doubting and believe." But Jesus continued, "Because you have seen me, you have believed. But it is more amazing for those who do not see and believe anyway." It is really neat, but Jesus was actually talking to us when he said it. If you believe in him without seeing him, he will think you're very special. That is exactly what faith is, believing in God even though we cannot see him. So praying and talking to God and reading his Bible and listening to his Bible we can know that Jesus is there. That's how he speaks to us, through his word. And you girls and kids, boys and girls, I should say, have a happy Sabbath.